We want to welcome you first, though, and let you
Hello,
know
hello.
how glad we are to have you.
Great
I'm
to be with you.
Cynthia,
And I'm Mark.
and we're happy to have other people here with us today. We hope that you have a wonderful experience and that you enjoy learning more about essential oils. So when I first started using a lot of essential oils instead of maybe one or two, it was just overload. There were so many questions, and I think that for most people, it can be very overwhelming to try and figure out what to do.
Was for me.
I think he's still asking me how he should.
I still ask a lot of
Yeah,
questions, but for me, initially it was just like, oh, there are too many oils. What do I? And some of them I really loved, but it was like, well, what do I do with this? Am I supposed to drink it or rub it or smell? I mean, what am I supposed to do with this? So.
Yeah, so true. So we have so many questions about how to use them, and it can just get overwhelming. I remember listening to a presentation once, and they just went on and on about all the different oils they used at one time. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's crazy. I can't even think about that. And so this weekend, we had a really funny thing happen to us. We are in the middle of some home improvements because of a forced flooding of our kitchen area. And so as a result of that, we couldn't be in the home for a few days while they were repairing. And we had to leave fast. And I always take oils with me. And so I always go to certain oils that I will always have with me on trips. And so although I love a lot of oils and I'll use them for different reasons, and we'll talk about those later individually, I just want to go to the top 10 most wanted oils, why they're that, and what issues they might address for you, and how you can apply them effectively. So you can see us, we're at Mesa Verde. That's where we ended up going. We just had to go fast, and we thought, well, if we're going to have to go, let's have fun.
Yeah.
So I have in my hand, I'll show you what I did. You can probably hear that. See all these oils? These are oils that I chose to take with me. There are quite a few of them. There actually were more than 10, but I'm going to talk about 10 specific ones. And then if you want secrets, I'll tell you about the extras that we brought along too.
And this is the real deal. We literally had a couple of hours to pack up and leave. And so we were just packing, and Cynthia grabbed these oils, and these are the ones that we had on the trip.
Yeah.
And these are her go-to oils.
Right.
And I love them as well.
So here we go, our top 10 individual oils. Now we're not going to do 10 individual oils and 10 of the blends, although we could, and I could probably talk about it until the sun goes down and it's the next day or maybe 4 or 5 days, but we're just going to talk about a few of them today. So of course, what do we take with us? We've been talking about this every single week, and the reason why we take this wonderful lemon with us is because it cleans our body. When you're traveling a lot, you need to do that to your body, and it also helps clean surfaces. So you can wipe them down and keep everything clean and don't have to worry about the problems that might have existed on that surface. And it also makes you feel good. And one of the things that happens a lot when you're riding, which we were in our car, is you kind of start to feel kind of mopey. And so you can put something like this in a little car diffuser, or on a cloth or something, and it'll help you feel happy.
That's a great pick-me-up. I love having it in water. It just kind of sparkles it up, and I know it's good for me. It's cleaning my body. It's a great one.
It's really good. Next would be peppermint. Now, I'm going to show you this way, but I actually didn't bring it in this form, but I would. And the reason why I'd want it in that form is because then I don't get it on my hands. So a lot of times I don't really want oil on my hands all day or getting out of my clothes sometimes. I don't know if you've ever done that. But if you have something like this, it opens up the lungs and your sinuses. You can put it on the back of your neck and cool down. Awesome, awesome. It's a nice pick-me-up. And you can add it to, like it says, your toothbrush. Helps you just relieve some tension. Who doesn't get tense when they're on big, long car rides? And that's a really good way.
And I've talked about this before. I love using this when I exercise, when I mountain bike. I will take a really open up my lungs before I start that exercise, and it just helps me breathe better. It helps me really focus and be able to get maximum efficiency when I exercise.
Yeah. And the nice thing is that you can just like stick it in your pocket. And so when we're hiking, we ended up going hiking and doing a couple of things. You can just have it with you and get a nice breath. Lovely. Okay, now tea tree. Now tea tree used to be called Melaleuca because that's its name as far as scientific name. And so you'll see it says tea tree Melaleuca, and then the alternifolia. There we go. Just want to make sure I said that right. So that it's fantastic for any kind of skin irritation. So like if you're walking through some tall grass and your skin gets scratched up with something, or maybe there's some plants that irritate, you can stick it on that, plus any kind of other skin irritations that are natural skin problems that you might deal with. And then you can also use it for a cleansing for a surface. I like to stick it down disposals or even in the bathroom. So just to try and keep things cleaner and keep the air cleaner and keep the surfaces cleaner again, right?
And for burns, it's terrific. Sometimes I burn myself barbecuing or cooking or whatever, and I just grab that and put it on, and it immediately takes that heat away and heals so much faster.
Same with for sunburns. It's absolutely fantastic. So you can think about it for all those little bugs that might come into your insides too. It helps relieve problems with those. So, and it helps with your nails, keeps them all clean and beautiful, and takes care of some of the problems that get underneath your nails that grow there. Awesome. So here we go. Now the next one. Now Mark uses this one absolutely every day.
I do.
And he deals with his legs moving around a lot at night.
Restless leg syndrome. I didn't ever find anything that could work for me, and it was keeping me awake. It was keeping her awake. It was a real problem. And when we discovered frankincense, I just put a little bit on every night, and my legs relax, my body relax. I sleep really well. It's fantastic.
You can also put it, like it says, on blemishes, or you can have a drop under the tongue to remove some of that inflammation in your body. And you can also give a kind of an emotional grounding with it. Frankincense has been around for centuries because of its healing properties. You can look online and see extremely well-documented information about frankincense. And I invite you to do that. Frankincense is one that has the possibility of crossing the blood-brain barrier, which is really amazing. I mean, it just has some really incredible properties that are associated with frankincense. So now we're going to lavender. Now, why people like lavender is very different. For most people, they go to it as a calming oil. And for me, I go to it as the skin and burn oil. So if I have like mosquito bites or grandkids have mosquito bites, I'll just grab it and stick a little on that area. It really helps reduce the irritation itself, and often will reduce the size of the irritation. So it's awesome for that. And also just for sleeping, general sleeping, because it has the properties of being able to change the brain waves, which is awesome, because if you want to kind of slow down that brainwave action, it really helps do that. And it's adaptogenic. So if it doesn't just slow it into, nothingness, it actually puts it in normal range.
I got to be honest, as a guy, lavender is not my first choice. It smells very girly to me.
Yeah.
But a few weeks ago, I went out boating and forgot to put on sunscreen, and I got very, very burned. And so a combination of lavender with Melaleuca, with the tea tree, really cut through that burn. And so for things like that, lavender for me is great as well.
That's so cool. So next, what is oregano? Now, I love oregano, and I don't know why it's not here right now because I have it with me, but it's great because it helps support your immune system and is a fantastic antioxidant. So put it on the bottoms of your feet. because I don't like to smell like a pizza. And so even though it does go through your whole body and you may smell a little bit oregano-ish, it will not be like a Mamma Mia experience. So, you just want to kind of make sure that you, with all these things, be gentle, be careful. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to use all 10 of these at the same time, because the body can get in overload, just like we talked about at the beginning. If it says, one of the things about being in an overload with essential oils is you can actually get into a place where it's just too much for the body to get rid of. So always remember when you're taking supplements, and these are supplementary, right? So anytime you're doing things like this, make sure you're having enough water intake so that you can clear it out of the body too, and it'll take out the garbage with it, right? It's up for antioxidant support. And I actually only use oregano when it comes in some kind of a blend, or when I put it on the bottom of my feet, because my skin actually gets irritated with it. So I have to be careful and put it on a tougher skin area. And that's why I do it on the bottoms of my feet. Can you use it for children? Sure, you can. Just remember, go gently on everything. And I would always only do oregano on the bottoms of feet. So that's awesome. What do you like about oregano?
I love it for antimicrobial support. And so if I'm feeling a cold coming on, or feeling a little bit, that kind of icky kind of coming on.
Something's coming on.
Yeah, I just think I've got to get ahead of this. And so I'll use oregano on the bottom of my feet. And I also learned, as Cynthia taught me this, that I tried it elsewhere on my body, and it's a hot oil. So it didn't go well, but I love it on the bottom of my feet, and I really feel that support for when I'm starting to feel a little bit icky.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to go to the other part of our top 10, and we're going to go to the blend part. So this happens to be the one I started with, is Digestin. That was my very first oil.
First oil.
Yeah, it was my very first oil.
Kind of like a first love.
I was just thinking, was it my very first or my very second? I had two that came up. I'll tell you about the other
maybe
one.
First oil, maybe first oil blends. Because
So Digestin is an awesome experience. And I saw my stomach actually go down in size. So it's so calming to the body, and it really helps with that upsetness, and it does help ease motion sickness. Take it with you, or peppermint on an airplane. Awesome. Really helps with that, or in the car, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you can also take it after a large meal. That's an awesome way to do it. I like to rub it on my stomach. You can put it on the bottoms of your feet. You can take it internally. It's awesome. There's so many ways to do it. And just make sure you read what it suggests, and don't overdo it. Don't say, oh, I'm going to chug a half a bottle of it or something. And you can use it for babies too. A lot of people suggest you put it in your belly button. That's all right. That's a good place to put it, but you can put it all across the entire stomach area, and that will help.
That was one that for me was like really kind of a revelation, because I had heard about, as we started getting into it, so you diffuse them, or you put them on your feet or whatever. And when Cynthia said, rub it on your tummy if your tummy is upset, I thought, yeah, well, that makes sense. Makes good sense. Why not?
It does. It's awesome.
Have that on your tummy, and it goes right to the area that it's needed.
It's fantastic that way. So next we're going to talk just a little bit about On Guard. Now I use it in a variety of ways, and I use it all year, not just during the fall and winter. I don't just put it on the bottoms of my feet. I use it like this, and I'll actually use this roller form rather than the spritzer that you can put on your hands. And I'll just put some on my hands after I'm in public. And with all of these things that we're dealing with right now, it's nice to feel like you're really helping yourself against any kind of immune threats that we deal with at this point. It's really awesome that way. So I like to also put it on the bottoms of my feet, but I like the smell of it. I use it quite a bit. And I've never actually added honey to soothe my throat, but I have used it in what I call an oil pull. So I'll put some of it in like fractionated coconut oil. It's a liquid form you probably can't see that moving around, but it's a form of coconut oil that's liquid in nature, so that you can swish it around in your mouth with a couple of drops of On Guard, and just do it for just a few minutes. You don't have to do it for very long. And then you spit it out and then kind of rinse the mouth. And it helps get the garbage, the toxins out of the body. And also you get a nice smelling mouth.
Just one of the things that has really struck me with On Guard, I know it has helped our family and continues to help our family with all of the illness and everything going around. But for me, it's also just peace of mind, because I know that it's effective and that it works, and I don't have to worry about, are we protecting ourselves? Are we doing everything we can? Because I know it works.
Yeah.
And I'll even sometimes put it on my mask. Put a little bit on my mask before and let it air out a little bit, but then I'll put it on my mask, and I'm breathing it, and I know I'm
Smells
getting
good.
that effort. I'm getting that protection and that efficacious benefit to my lungs and to my respiratory system.
And that's really why we're doing
Yeah,
this. That's why we're doing these webinars, is because we want you to experience what we've experienced by utilizing these incredible blends and essential oils, and how powerful they are, and how powerful they can be in your own life. So next, we're going to talk about Breathe. This is a fantastic one. I always take it with me when I travel, because I never know what's going to be in the room or the dust that's going to be in the air. We were in Colorado, and I don't know if you've heard about this, but right now there were a lot of fires. And so I found myself a little bit congested. So I would grab this, and because it's in this form, if I have the regular form of it, which is just a normal looking bottle like this, but if I have it in this form, I'll actually put it underneath my eyes, not next to my eye, but on the bony ridge here and just below my nose. And it'll help reduce the inflammation here. And it helps me really open my lungs so I can breathe. I'll put it right on my lung area, on my back, just so that I can get a nice open lung experience for sleeping. It's fantastic. You can also diffuse it. That's another way to use it, which is awesome. Have you found some way that you like to use it?
I really like it for sinuses. And we went swimming, and after I go swimming, I always have stuff in my sinuses and feel kind of congested. And so Breathe really helps open that up and make me feel much more clear and able to breathe like I want to. Yes,
that's really a good point. And you can help your kids with it too. You can stick it in a diffuser at home. Now you can use all of these in the many forms that it comes in. We're just talking about Breathe. But it comes in a little lozenge, and it comes in a roller. So there are other ways that a lot of these products come that you can utilize them. We're just showing you today one way to do that. All right, Deep Blue. So this is Deep Blue, and I love Deep Blue every day, probably.
Yeah.
I bet you, right? Especially when I'm exercising, I always have Deep Blue around. And like it says, use before or after a workout. Because of the heat, I find myself getting more cramps in my legs, and so I'll use a lot more of Deep Blue than I normally would. It really helps keep them calmed down, and I feel good. On this trip that we just told you about, I was using a lot of Deep Blue on my back, because we traveled the entire perimeter of Colorado. We missed the part that had the fires, but we went around the edges. We just got back today, but that was another one that I used every single day. It was awesome.
The other thing that I found, not only with exercising, but I was just thinking about this trip, we're sleeping in different beds every night or every couple of nights, and my back, sometimes it just does not like that bed. And so I find if I put Deep Blue on before I go to bed, and then especially in the morning, it really helps those muscles loosen up and get me going in the morning. So must have that when we travel.
It's awesome that way. So we're rolling down to the very end here. And so for you who have kits already, this is the kit that a lot of people start with. And the reason why is it has all of those oils that we just showed you. And I literally did, whoops, I'm trying to pick them up again. I literally did have all of these with me, except I must say, I switched out the lemon this time for wild orange, but I had all of these oils with me. I had the entire bunch with me on this trip that we took. You know, I'm using them every day for what we need, putting it on the pillows that somebody else might have breathed into. I think about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even before COVID, I thought about those kinds of things. So I tried to do my best to really, you know, take care of my environment as much as I can when I'm in an environment that might be safe but might not, and I can't see that it's not. But I know that these essential oils have been shown effectively to remove things that are airborne and to help boost your immune system. So for me, that's a really important thing to know, that I don't have to be worried, like Mark said. That's really important.
And we found that these 10 oils are really kind of the essential, at least for us, for me,
Yeah.
the essential oils.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like we talked about at the beginning. It can be overwhelming when you see these huge, you know, numbers of products and oils, and where do I start, and what do I do, and what do I do with it? But by having these 10 oils and knowing what they do and how to use them, and always having them there, whether we're traveling or at home, we can grab them and use them for those things that we know are going to really help us in that everyday pain, you know, restless leg, exercise, whatever it is we're doing. They're our go-to oils, and they're terrific.
Yeah, well, and we really feel empowered by having them, and a lot more calm. It's like, okay, I know I'll have what I need with me, and maybe I'll say, oh shoot, I should have brought that one because I really like that one. But I know that if I take these with me, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key part is, well, you know, is it enough? And the answer is, you may find things that actually work more effectively for you than one of these things in here. And that's great. Bring it along too. But recognize that those are ones you can be go-to oils and can go fast in an emergency like we had, where we had to leave the house. We hope that you'll take the opportunity to consider loyalty rewards so that you can get a better discount on them, so that you can keep them around all the time and share them with your friends and other people that you love, and to help them so that they can experience the same feeling of, I'd say it's empowerment, just to feel so secure that you know you're taking care of yourself and your family.
And it's so cool to know that you're not only taking care of your health, but you're also taking care of your budget, you know, and by,
that's
by
true.
by enrolling in the program here, you're getting the wholesale price to start with, but then over time you're building up these discounts that really are significant, and it's such a great way to go.
It sure is. We just certainly love it. Okay, so now you get to see some of our fun. So we climbed to waterfalls. We saw the great sand dunes, and I was shocked at how incredible they were, how big they were. I didn't even know they existed. So we saw 3 national parks in 5 days.
5 days.
We actually saw them in 2 days, and then we were burned out and we didn't see the 4th one we were going to go to. So we invite you to continue on the journey with us, that you will choose your top 10 oils, and that you'll know which ones will work the very best for you, and join us every Thursday night so that you can have the best 30 years for your life. Absolutely. No matter your age, that the next 30 will be the best 30. See you next week, and we're going to turn this off, and then we'll have some questions. Did you turn it off yet?